The following program is brought to you by Naleo TV, the people's platform.
Aloha and welcome to Body Kona, exclusively on Naleo TV. I'm Sarah Bergeron. I will be your host. Today we will be harnessing the healing energies of the island to move our bodies and show you all how accessible health and wellness really is from anywhere. So let's go ahead and just get started. I just want to give you a little bit about my background. I was a competitive gymnast for 10 years. I'm a local studio owner here in Kona, and I also have been doing yoga for 20 years. I absolutely love health and wellness, and I think it is so important to bring to our community. So I am so excited for this opportunity to show you guys some accessible moves, especially coming here to Hawaii and accessing the healing essence of this island. We are so excited to get started, so let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start off together by just taking a deep breath. We're gonna go ahead and just inhale through the nose for about 5 seconds. Hold. And slowly start to exhale through the nose, calming our parasympathetic nervous system here. So the first move we're going to be focusing on today is going to help with our legs, our balance, something that we want to pay attention to, especially as we get into our old age. Balance is something that is so important. So we're going to be working on just a regular squat here. So the first thing you want to do is bring your feet to be hip width distance here. You're going to roll your shoulder blades down and back. So if I was facing sideways, you could see our shoulders will be forward. So we're going to go ahead and bring them back. We want the spine to be completely aligned here. So shifting the weight into the heels, we're going to be bringing that weight to come down. So as if we were sitting into a chair. You could be adding your weight so much into the heels that you're even lifting all 10 of your toes here. So this move is going to benefit our quads, our glutes, even our calf muscles. So coming through this just a couple of times each day can be something that will really help your balance. So we're going to do a couple of reps together. Now that I've shown you how to move your body, let's go ahead and do this together. So find a space in your home. You just need about 5 feet, and you're going to bring those feet out. Like I said, roll those shoulder blades back down the back, and let's go ahead and just get started. We're going to do 16 reps together. So coming down nice and slow, and then you're pressing that weight through the heels. Let's go ahead and lift those thighs off those kneecaps every time you stand up. So you're getting that full benefit, the full leg here, not just the glutes. And then also added benefit, let's go ahead and squeeze those glutes also every time you stand up. Again, weight is shifting into the heels so much so maybe your toes are even lifting off of the mat. Breathing nice and deep in and out of the nose every time we come up and down. Big breaths. Trying to keep that mouth closed here when we're working out. It actually activates that parasympathetic nervous system. So we are calming the body down every time we're breathing in and out of that nose. We're going to take 5 more of these reps here. Nice deep breaths. Breathing. And then to add a little bit onto here, the next time we come up, let's go ahead and add a toe rise. So getting into the ankles and getting into the full leg here. So this is going to be beneficial for the entire lower body. Like I said, make sure you're squeezing all of the muscles and engaging all of the muscles every time you come up. And then every time you come back, you're sitting back as far as you can. Again, breathing every time we come through this. A few more. You want to make sure you do a certain amount of reps every time you work out to make sure you're getting the benefits. I personally recommend at least 2 rounds of 16. Coming for 3 more. And then we're gonna just stand, put our hands on our hips here, and just do some toe rises. Breathing nice and deep. So really try to keep behind the kneecaps nice and straight. You're coming up onto the balls of the toe here. You are reaching the crown of your head as tall as you can. Believe it or not, this is very hard. You think that it would not get those muscles, but you feel this right away. And just look at how accessible this is, guys. Anyone can do this in their living room, and you've basically just done a full lower body workout here. So just a few more reps. Again, breathing the whole time here, in and out of the nose. Deep breaths. So let's go ahead. We got 3 more, and then we're gonna start from the top and just do 1 more round of quick reps. So coming back down onto those heels, let's go ahead, make sure those feet are nice and centered underneath the shoulders. Let's roll those shoulder blades down and back once more, reach that crown towards the sky, shift that weight into the heels, and slowly start to come down. Breathing. Again, press the weight right out of those heels. Come right into that standing position, and then we're squeezing those thighs right off the kneecaps. Few more breaths. Nice and slow too. You want to feel as if you're coming through molasses here, feeling every single movement. 4 more. And then we're gonna add our heel lift here. Again, coming back up onto those heels, getting even more into that lower body. Again, we're breathing every time we're moving here. And then let's go ahead, back up onto those feet, lifting onto those toes for our last round. And then we're going to be moving on to our next posture. Now that we just took care of the lower body, for our next thing, we're going to slow it down for a minute and just take a breath. So we're going to come down to a seated or kneeling position, depending on your knees. If you have knee issues, I would recommend going cross-legged here. So let's just come on down. We're gonna practice some alternate nostril breathing here. This is one of my favorite breathwork exercises because it balances the right and left hemisphere of the brain. So we're gonna be pulling oxygen through one side into the other side, and it's going to leave the body feeling so nice and calm. So I would access this exercise anytime your body's feeling stress. Just go ahead and do this. So we're going to maybe bring the hands onto the body. You're going to take peace fingers with your right or left hand, placing them in between the eyebrows here. Maybe closing the eyes down, covering that left nostril. We're going to go ahead and take a nice big breath in through that right nostril. Holding at the top here as you switch those fingers, and then exhaling out that other side here. Inhaling again through that left. Switching, and then exhaling out the other side. Inhale through that right. Hold while we switch, and exhale out the left side. Remember that you have this breath with you at all times. It's going to calm the nervous system and give you exactly what you need to feel great in the moment. Now that we've taken a breath, let's go ahead and continue on with some more movement. So we're going to come into a child's pose here. This is one of my favorite postures for working on the hips and also extending our spine and lengthening that. So we're gonna start by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, and then exhaling as we crawl our way out, getting the arms as far in front of you as possible while reaching the hips back as much as you can towards those big toes. Your big toes are also touching here, and your knees are gonna be just as wide as the mat. So you're gonna go ahead, crawl your way forward, and then maybe bring that third eye to come down, massaging it slightly on the mat, getting some of that mindfulness in here. So taking a couple breaths right here. Breathing into the spine too. So we're gonna feel those vertebrae expanding with every breath. Reaching fingertips forward as we pull those hips back. Taking 3 more rounds of breath in and out of the nose here. Taking our last big inhale, biggest one all day. And exhale as we slide onto the belly here. We're going to bring the elbows to come directly in front of your body here. Legs can be either wide as the mat or directly behind you. Palms flat on the floor, and you're going to actually take those elbows and pull them towards the chest here. So you're gonna feel a nice stretch in the belly, a nice stretch in the spine, and then maybe taking some slight neck rolls here. Listening to your body though, always listening to your body. If you have any neck injuries, please just keep your neck nice and still. And then nice, just deep breaths settling into this. And then exhale, pulling those elbows towards the body here. And then slowly we're gonna go ahead and transition out of this, coming into a tabletop position. So coming back onto the knees, pressing into those palms. Fingers are going to be spread nice and wide here. Knees will be slightly wider than the hips actually. So we're going to press into those palms. Big inhale through the nose. Exhale, arch the back, and then gazing up towards the ceiling. Exaggerate that arch. And then exhale, we're going to round as we press away from the mat here, gazing up towards that belly button. Inhale once more, drop the belly, arch, exaggerate that arch. Exhale, pressing away. Taking one more round. This is a great move to do first thing in the morning when you get out of bed. And then exhale once more. Another thing I love to do in this cat-cow position is taking some barrel rolls with our chest. So moving our spine is going to keep us young. So doing this as often as we can, just taking a moment to go in both directions. Maybe we'll hear some creaks and cracks along the way. And then coming back to neutral, taking a moment and just looking over that right and left shoulder. Again, moving the spine. So you want to bring the hip to come into your view. Taking one more round of this. And then we're going to come back to neutral, again, spreading fingertips nice and wide. You want to make sure you give yourself some space here, coming into a downward facing dog. So you're going to curl your big toes, all your toes under, and then press up, and then bringing the heels to come back towards the floor. Spreading fingertips and then melting the heart to come towards the mat here. So you want your tailbone shooting up towards the ceiling. So if I was to show you coming sideways, you could see that spreading those fingertips, you would like that tailbone to be coming straight up towards the ceiling. So even if you have to lift the heels, even if you have to bend the knees, eventually you do want the knees completely straight and the heels all the way on the floor. This is going to be an amazing stretch for the whole body. You're going to get the shoulders, you're going to get the hamstrings, you're going to get the calves, and you can also lift each leg and go into either side and open your hips in that posture as well. We're also going to be going into another couple of moves here, so let's go ahead and move into our next posture. Now that we've gone and done a couple more movements, let's take a pause here and take a little bit more breaths. So coming back to a seated position, we're going to be practicing our Ujjayi breathing. So this is considered our yogi breath. So you're going to go ahead, maybe you close down the eyes, or maybe you just soften your gaze towards the tip of your nose. Again, you want to kind of come inward here. So maybe the hands are on the body, maybe the hands are on the floor if you're looking for some grounding. You're going to close down those lips and start to breathe in and out of the nose here. So biggest, deepest inhale through the nose that you've taken all day long, pulling and drawing that breath all the way down into the navel here. And when you exhale, you're actually slightly going to restrict the back of your throat. So you're going to hear almost as if it's like a Darth Vader-ish sound, or as if you're fogging up a mirror, but it's going to be an audible breath here. So big inhale, exhale, big inhale, big exhale. Let's take 5 more of these together. Two more big breaths. Last one, biggest breath all day. Big inhale. Big exhale. Do you feel how calm you feel now? Let's go ahead and move on to our next posture. Now that we've calmed ourselves again with our breath, we're going to move a little bit more. So let's go ahead and come on up to standing. Let's roll out those ankles. I know we've been sitting on our feet for a minute. And then let's go ahead. We're going to come into a warrior 2 pose. So you're going to take your front foot, your toes will be facing directly into the front of the mat. And then your back foot is going to actually be parallel with the back of the mat. So bringing the legs pretty far apart here, especially if you're tall, you might even be the whole length of the mat here. So we're going to go ahead, bringing the arms to come out, and then we're gonna bend into that front leg here. So you're gonna come into almost a 90-degree angle if you can with your legs. So you should feel super strong and sturdy here. Both feet, all 4 corners rooted into the ground. And then taking our arms, again, rolling shoulder blades down the back here, and the gaze for your warrior is normally going to be right over your middle finger. So breathing here, this is an extremely strong pose here. So you are going to be getting your strength in your legs, as well as opening our hips, which is going to be a very, very valuable thing for the body. We actually store a lot of our trauma, our grief, and things that we want to get rid of in our hips. So doing postures like this actually helps us work through those things through our fascia. So let's go ahead, breathing here. We'll hold this for just a few more moments here. Breathing in and out of the nose, guys, as we're in this posture. As in any yoga postures, we always want to try to be breathing in and out of the nose. Bringing in that Ujjayi breath that we practiced earlier. And then let's go ahead on our next exhale. So big inhale. Exhale, flipping palms, reversing that warrior. So one arm will go down the back leg and the other arm will reach up towards the ceiling, gaze coming up towards the sky. And then maybe if you want to try, going and reaching around for that vine. So this will be a beautiful posture. You can feel nice and elegant while you're stretching and moving your body. And then we are going to transition out of this. So take one more big breath here, big inhale and exhale, unwinding. We are going to reach forward, connecting the elbow to the knee here, and then opening the body, coming into a side angle pose. So again, holding here. Legs are just the same as our warrior pose. And feel free to do these postures, not all at the same time, because it can be a little intense if you are holding this. And then one more breath, big inhale. Exhale, we're going to bring those hands to frame that front foot as we drag that back foot to come in. Coming into a plank pose here. So making sure the booty stays down, we're not up here. So this is going to be our proper plank pose. Wrists directly under shoulders, gazing towards the floor, holding this for just 2 big breaths. One more inhale. And then we're going to go ahead, exhale, shifting that weight forward. We're going to come through a vinyasa flow. So lowering into chaturanga halfway, flipping those toes, and then pressing our way up for an up dog here. Big inhale. Exhale, flip those toes, coming back for that downward facing dog. Again, maybe the feet are spread, holding this, taking a big breath, pedaling through those feet, opening those hamstrings, and then slowly coming down to those knees, taking a moment, breathing. That's a very intense posture series that we just did. So feel very proud of yourself right now if you were just following along, because you just gained a lot of strength in your legs. Again, let's take some breaths, bring our heart rate down, and breathe together in and out of the nose. Maybe again, closing the eyes, or maybe just softening that gaze towards the tip of the nose. A few breaths, calm that heart rate. And then we will move on to our next side. So to keep our body balanced, we want to do those postures on the other side as well. So let's go ahead, once again, just coming back up to standing. We're going to get back into our warrior 2, using that other leg this time. So this time, these toes are going to be pointing towards the front of the mat, and then bringing that back leg to come as far as you can, bringing that foot parallel to the back. And then again, bending into that front leg, coming into that 90 degrees. If your knee is coming over your toe, make sure to scoot that toe out a little bit more to give yourself some more space to bend into the posture. So again, reaching out, gazing over those fingertips, holding this for a couple of breaths here, feeling that nice balance and open hips in the body. Just a couple of breaths here. 2 more. Fill up one last time. Flip those palms, exhale into that reversed warrior. Let's go. Breathing here. Maybe again, like I said, arm is down the back, or if you want to try something new, let's reach around for that front hip crease here. Pressing away, creating a lengthened spine. One more breath here. Filling up, we're going to transition into our side angle, unwinding those arms, and then coming down, pressing elbow into knee, opening it up here. Big inhale, big exhale. Again, this can be an intense series, just holding. So be very proud of yourself here. Big breaths. And exhale, we're going to frame out that foot, bring that other foot to come back. Again, into our plank posture. Hands directly under shoulders, keeping that belly button hugged into the spine. Big inhale. Exhale, shift that weight forward, coming down to that chaturanga. Flip your toes, pressing through that up dog. Big inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Once again, pedal those feet out, shake out the head. Big breaths here. And then slowly coming down onto the knees. Breathing and connecting in with our bodies. One more time. Now that we have our lower body and our hamstrings warmed up, we're just gonna do one more exercise that helps with balance and gets those glutes nice and strengthened. This is one of my personal favorite exercises here. So I'll go ahead and show you the positioning and then we'll just go ahead and do a couple of reps. So first of all, we're gonna bend into the standing leg here. We're gonna start with our right leg being our supporting leg, taking that left leg to come out to the side here. So we're gonna be pointing our toe and then also pointing that kneecap to come directly towards the floor. So like I said, bending into that knee, we're just gonna start with some slow motion here with that leg tapping the toe, and the bend in this knee will help with the balance. So just continuing to breathe while we do this also. And then after we do a couple of reps just like this, we're gonna hold the leg up and we're gonna do 1-inch movements up and down, doing some pulses. So let's go ahead and get into it. So like I said, bend into that standing leg. Let's take with the left leg starting first. Turn that kneecap facing the floor here, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started. So we're gonna lift that leg, coming through 16 reps of this. Breathing, like I said, as we move. We're getting the side of the glute here, but then we're also getting into the side ab, and then our abs are also gonna be a great stabilizer for our balance as well. Breathing a few more here. And then we're gonna go ahead and hold that leg up, whole same. Yes, this is where the magic happens here. Tiny, tiny little movements. Sometimes this is challenging for balance. Feel free to grab a chair, a counter, anything at home to help with that. And then we're gonna go ahead, coming on down, shaking it out slightly before we go on to that other side. So we're gonna go ahead once more, bending into that standing leg to give you that support and that balance, maybe grabbing a chair or a couch, something to help you stabilize, bringing that leg to come out, and then bringing that kneecap to come down towards the floor once more. We're gonna start with those reps, breathing in and out of the nose as we do this here. Big, deep breaths. Now that we've taken time to move our bodies, let's go ahead and slow down and take some time for ourselves. So we're gonna come into a little self-love practice here. So let's go ahead, bringing one hand to the heart and one hand to the belly, and then just bowing the chin here. We're gonna start to take some big breaths in and out of the nose, feeling the rising and falling of the chest each time we breathe. Acknowledging the breath as the miracle that it is, acknowledging the miracle that you are as an individual, and just remembering that you only bring the things into the world that you bring. You are a miracle and you are an individual. So breathing that in and taking the time with these practices to always remember that it's just as much about the mind as it is about the body. A few breaths here, just marinating on those thoughts. Again, I'm Sarah, and I'm so excited that you are joining us here today on Mind, Body, Kona. We hope to see you next time and that you'll continue tuning in with us to learn more about the mind, body, and spirit. I'll see you soon. Namaste.